Art and history shape our culture, and without our culture, there would be a lack of unison, community, and nationalism. In 2018, Condé Nast Travelers wrote an article after interviewing a number of bystanders on why they believe that museums should be free, and one such bystander wrote, "Culture, like the internet or healthcare, shouldn't be a privilege bestowed on those who earn the right salary or drop the right donations. It educates us, opens our minds, and makes us better humans." With the emergence of fake news in our everyday society, and especially within politics and other realms of our lives, it is so important to understand the truth of who we are as a nation, what our culture is, and what we embody. And the best way to do that is through attending museums. However, there are so many individuals who don't have the financial means or the access or resources to attend these such museums. Therefore, local and national museums hold a plethora of knowledge, historical artifacts, art, and so many other beneficial things that every citizen should have the ability financially and accessibly to experience these such museums, because they are beneficial establishments that have shaped our culture and that will continue to shape our culture. As a history major, I've learned the importance of learning firsthand how real life artifacts can help shape our modern day experiences, from learning about the past, from learning about the way that different art forms are created and why they were created. So they hold these ideas and themes that are beneficial to generations across the board. The three main points that I will be addressing throughout this speech include the fact that visitor rates would increase if there was a decrease or an elimination of costs in museum fees. Secondly, society, and specifically students and younger generations, would benefit immensely from attending more museums, and also would increase attendance if they did not have to pay. And lastly, taxpayers already pay a substantial amount to the state, to the national government, and so it should be their lawful right to attend these museums without having to pay additional fees upon entry. Reluctant to spend some free time in museums, many people would rather put their costs towards other things, or things that don't cost money, such as going to the park, such as taking a walk and such. Because of this, visitor attendance has been very low in many different museums across the country. Young Luan, who wrote an article of economic studies in Taiwan, found that in Taiwan specifically, those with lower incomes valued the fact that there were high museum costs more than those with higher incomes. As shown in the graph here, it can be seen that those with lower incomes are more likely to be deterred from visiting museums with admission charges, with 8.1% of this lowest income group, which is 6,500 Taiwan dollars, would say that they would not attend museums because of the high admissions fees. And this begins to decrease as income increases on this horizontal axis until you get to 25,000 Taiwan dollars, in which that income group does not even consider the fact that there is a museum charge. Where museums are free or subsidized, studies shows that these visitor valuations are increased. Therefore, more people would be more willing to spend their free time and their leisure time in these such museums if they were not so costly. While this economic standpoint is important, and especially important in the argument towards free museums, the societal benefits that these museums have on students, middle generations, and older generations far outweighs the cost, and therefore proves that cost should not be a factor. The longevity of a national culture, along with the diverse, complex, and history, have been built within these museums and continue to flourish. To change societal benefits yet people are unaware. These are societal benefits, yet people are aware of some of these societal benefits because they are not attending museums. Therefore, it's just a negative cycle. In 2018, historian and scholar Mabel Rosenheck wrote an article of why museums should be free to everyone, regardless of where they live, how much they make, and who they are. And she said, students can come on school trips and learn not just about art or history or science, but also experiences in institutions, museums themselves. that might otherwise feel closed off to them. This is something that younger generations should have a knowledge of at a very young age so that throughout their life they continue to attend these museums. And with younger generations, especially students not having an annual income or a steady income, therefore they do not have the financial means to continue to pay these fees. Therefore, it is important that they have the ability to experience this abundance of knowledge and experiences. As for cultural significance, this cultural significance does instill positive impact and positive change in some cases because it allows people to see things in a different light. They're exposed to new cultures or new things and therefore could change their ideology in some way, shape, or another. Therefore, society as a whole would benefit from increased attendance and lowered cost of these museum fees. As Mabel Rosenheck also continues to go on in her article, she says, free admission is a way to begin opening profound spaces up to diverse uses and experiences that capture the power of objectives to communicate, regardless of whether they teach us something specific or whether they simply fill us with awe, wonder, and a sense of our shared humanity. And while it is important that these societal benefits be exacerbated throughout generations, it is also important to note, lastly, that residential citizens, taxpayers, law-abiding individuals already pay for the ability to attend these publicly funded museums, and they should not have to pay an additional fee in order to benefit from these establishments. The Metropolitan Museum of Art is one example that in January of 2018, they instilled a $25 admissions fee to those who are not residents of the area. Therefore, in this case, it shows that residents do benefit, and as taxpayers, they do not have to pay an additional fee. But it goes without saying that those who travel to areas such as the Met are the ones who frequent it the most and would benefit from these different cultures and experiences. And Peter Johnson and Barry Thomas in 1998 conducted an economic study in which donors are less willing to produce funds where high admissions fees are instilled. And lastly, museums have valued that they should be shared regardless of income, residency, or immigration status. Museums are a collection of knowledge in which individuals should be able to experience no matter their income and therefore should be free.